How y'all doing? This is Crypto Vatsik, and I want to thank you for joining today. I really appreciate it, and I would really appreciate if you hit that like button to support the channel. And if you do find the content helpful, please don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future updates. As always, this is not financial advice and are my opinions only. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so another technical analysis video here, this time on HBAR and CRV, otherwise known as Hedera or CRV. I'm going to show you the key levels that I'm seeing. Despite being a very weak bearish trend overall, we can zoom in on low time frame to evaluate some different ways of playing these at the moment. Okay, so starting off, let's go down to the 12-hour and we'll zoom in a little bit closer to what we're seeing now. Okay, so very similar to many other altcoins, right? We've seen this. We had our major low made earlier back in May, and then we had bearish consolidation, very similar to a lot of other coins, with our drop off, capitulation, sell off, whatever you want to call that, and then obviously just this kind of ranging in between, right? So we'll take it with our range first, okay? So from our swing high down to our swing low, and I'm going to go to this second wick, not the first wick. Could call it a deviation. Okay, we'll go from the second wick here. There's some nice interaction with that already. So that just kind of gives us our perspective of what we could look to if we start to break upwards. And then within that, we've got obviously some current levels as well, right? So nothing too significant though. I really am just going to take it off the bottom of this wick here because all this is just really choppy, and there's definitely levels in here that are getting flipped over and over, but essentially, these are kind of the more significant ones I'll just consider at this point for now. And so right off the bat, I'm not loving the fact that this wick, this big wick down here, is basically swept at this point, right? From this price action over here, and even from here as well. Okay, so we've essentially, we've swept this, we've taken out some of the liquidity, in my opinion, we've come down and we've tested it, right? So just the reason why I say that is because the same thing with this, when we saw this major wick here, right? It should act as an area of demand. You want to see it, maybe it gets swept. You want to see a nice reaction if you want to see it act as our bottom, and we just haven't seen that. So just like back here, we kind of shot right through it. It got eaten up. It barely even bounced. So then, yeah, everything just kind of came straight down and capitulated. But, that's worrisome. I will say at this point for now is that the fact that we're hanging out down here now at this point. But there is some positive news, which we will get into. But just before we get into that, I want to pull your attention to this recent move, this short squeeze that we had, a really powerful short squeeze that we had on HBAR, okay? So here we had our low, okay? We had our previous high, which we broke, all right? Broke that, so it's a break in market structure, some bullish consolidation. And then really up here, I mean, other than, sweeping some of these previous highs, this area here is really just an inefficient area of price. So we just obviously took all the way up that, took up all of that void, and obviously a very powerful move. Shorts, shorters got fucked, and we came up to really the origin place of that breakdown of this previous move here, right? So some sort of bearish order block on this candle sitting kind of right there, and came up, and then obviously since it's a short squeeze and we're in a bear market, this sell-off just almost completely sold off almost immediately. And honestly, right here just is your typical sell model. Basically had our floor, our bottom here, okay, bullish consolidation, deviation, sell off, and then your next floor, okay, and the kind of the finish of the sell model. So, but we never cracked this wick, right? So, so now what do I want to see? Well, what we're seeing right now is we saw a break in market structure. Again, just keeping it simple, guys, okay? So we had our low, and then we basically had our previous high here, which has been broken, okay? So we smashed through it. We've had multiple candle closes above, even with a couple of retests here and here. Okay, so we've broken that market structure. This is technically a signal that there's a potential reversal here, and this is what we want to see, okay? We've got our bullish order block right here. Now that this big red candle was invalidated, sitting right there, and it's not looking too bad. But since we're sitting so close to this low before we make new lows, I would really like to see HBAR continue this push up. And usually we get pretty choppy price action over the weekends, but I would really like to see this continue to push up, hold this level ultimately, or at least this order block, of course, because that basically be new lows after that. But basically on, zooming in here on this time frame, we have gotten a higher time frame on the 12-hour break in market structure, and we are now headed up. So I'd be waiting for a retest somewhere in here to get long, or, once we get some more price action to see that's a bit more clear, then I'd be looking at for longs at this point. But I do not want to see something like this where we, maybe sweep that high there and then we start to come back down and play around in here again. This, again, just a lower high, very bearish. I don't want to be down here. I want to get as far away from down here, the sooner the better, okay, and start this trend up. Because if we drop lower and make new lows, I have really not much else to tell you other than probably heading down to this low somewhere. I would say, yeah, what is that, 33 cents. Yeah, pretty steep drop. And some people get hopeful and they say, oh, but there's a level in here, there's a levels up here kind of thing. But you got to take it down to the low, right? To this base, right from the bottom of this entire move. Okay, that's how you measure things, from the bottom to the top. And yeah, okay, maybe there'll be some bounces in between on the way down here where they flip SRs. Okay, but in my opinion, this is the most prominent next area down to drop to. Okay, and if anything, you could just argue that it'll help keep you patient, right? So if we are going lower, you could potentially buy a bunch of times before that. But this is your target, it'll help you keep you patient. And if it bounces sooner, if it comes down and something like this, break up, okay, yeah, sure. When you see that major break in market structure, great, fine. Then you can buy in, right? But at least you've got that confirmation. Whereas if you're kind of just buying on the way down, oh, sorry. If you're kind of just buying here, buying some here, and then, oh, yeah, we bought them, buying some here, and then, you continue to come down like this over a long period of time, then you bought all the way up here, and you're underwater, right? So that's my next area of interest if we break this low and we head lower, okay? But again, as I said, there's no reason to believe that just yet. On a little bit lower time frame, looking at this closer, okay, we could have a decent push here. Okay, so for now, the trend heading up here is intact, and we'll just have to see if this breaks down or what it wants to do. But that's pretty much it for HBAR for now. Okay, moving on to CRV. Obviously something very similar, as I said. Okay, we had our push down, our macro low, either here or here at that point, bearish consolidation, breakdown, just consistent lower highs. Okay, and then our capitulation event here dropped way low to our most recent macro low, or our bottom here, and then a bit of a rally, and then just cooled off, kind of very similar structure. And when you zoom out a bit here, just very clearly, as we're just still hanging out under here, right? There's no reason to get too excited just yet. But we've got our major levels here. Okay, we'll make that a bit more prominent. Make it aligned. We got our major level there. And then in between we've got these guys here. Yeah. So the reason why I'm using dark lines versus dotted lines is because these levels are less tested, right? So we got these levels up at the top here and at the bottom, basically just forming an overall range, kind of untested. So probably a bit more significant reaction if we do come in down and touch them. And it doesn't mean they can't be broken, right? But I would expect some sort of decent reaction before getting broken, versus these ones in the middle are kind of just, call it like your equilibriums to that range, right? Where they're getting kind of flipped, right? So you can see here, broke down below, kind of not able to flip it yet, flips it into support, comes back up, flips this one into support, bouncing off of it, breaks back down. That's now resistance. This one's support, resistance, breaks down below. Now it's resistance, right? So they're just getting played around and kind of choppy, right? But there's still levels to appreciate if you're looking to trade this, right? So anyways, that's my reasoning for using the thick lines versus the dotted lines. And then this I'll just call a deviation, okay? But that's our low at the moment. And then now, so what are we seeing when we zoom in a little bit here on curve? Well, actually, there's one here too. I like that line there. So nice support, but then also resistance and support here. Okay, so let's get into what we're seeing right now. Well, we've got our bearish order block right here. Okay, sitting right there. So not tested yet. Okay, this is where we broke down really this entire area here of potentially bearish consolidation, but really that's our bearish order block right there. Okay, so lots of interactions. So have not tested it as of yet. However, we are currently potentially breaking market structure. So we had our low made. Okay, this candle was not invalidated just yet on this green candle. Okay, we made a higher low, and then we made a higher. Well, with the wick, we made a higher high, but only against this here, right? So yeah, we made a higher high there if you count the wick, but if you're counting candle bodies, then yeah, we've closed above this previous high and wicked above, right? So it's getting tight in here. I don't know if you would want to count this as a confirmed breakout. I would like to see more candles close above this line at just over 92 cents. Okay, I don't want to come back down below this if this is a break in market structure to the upside, okay? But we do have now our bullish order block there. That's our most recent order block. Okay, it comes from this red candle, it being invalidated. So yeah, I mean, if we hold above here and we basically play around and maybe even retest this order block, okay, I'm okay with that, but I'd want to get above this line. And now we're getting pinched in by this major macro diagonal that's coming down, but we need to see this level hold, right? So this is technically our break in market structure, and I have a tough time counting the wicks, but yeah, this one I wouldn't be as confident entering in this one just yet. Not just yet, but yeah. I'm thinking out loud now. Yeah, usually when you're trying to find it this hard, then honestly, it might not be there if you're trying to find it. So, I mean, yeah, we came up, we kind of swept this previous high with this wick. It could easily break back down, but we've got the bullish order block. We've got this level here to play around with. So, I would want to keep above that area. And like I said, with HBAR, I want to see a push here. If this is going to be a temporary reversal of any kind, I want to see a push very shortly. I don't want to just be hovering around here. I don't want to come back down and just be hovering here, because I would expect new lows. And where would it go after that? Again, honestly, CRV, obviously the obvious one is testing this low. Yeah, and below that, I got no clue. Okay, and anyone tells you that they know, it doesn't, and they're lying. But obviously maybe some sort of base down here, okay? But no one knows until we have some further data to work with. But yeah, I would expect one of these lows, potentially even just the bottom here, just the all-time low here on Binance. So anyways, you guys, thank you very much for joining. I really appreciate the support, and I hope that this video has helped you in some way, and I hope to see you on the next one. Thanks. Bye.